Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name is Brian, and there is no Shane today. Unfortunately, Shane is picking up equipment for our show. So, some really weird events happened, and we'll get into that in a second. But I want to say hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Brian, and I am solo today, baby, except for a guest. We should be having Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge on in 20 minutes or so. And so that's gonna be great. Hopefully he got my message and he can click that link. But even if he doesn't, we're here together because I'm here with you and you guys are awesome. And today, because I'm solo, I'm definitely gonna be looking at your chats because I'm not used to doing a solo stream. Usually my older brother carries the stream for me and I just click on buttons in the background and dance around naked. But today, I get to do it solo. Additionally, these, my friends, these are spicy Carolina pickles. Mikey's spicy Carolina Reaper pickles. I said Ghost Pepper Pickles in the tweet because Ghost Pepper Pickles is just a cooler name. But these are super spicy pickles that my boy Jeremy Snyder sent us. And you know what I'm going to do? I made a commitment because today is my birthday. I made a commitment that on the day that I do my birthday stream, I will be eating the wonderful gift that my brother Jeremy sent me. My brother from another mother, Jeremy, sent me. And last week, thinking that I was this big tough guy, I figured, oh man, I just touched my eye. Jeez, well, that was a mistake. Great. Oh, great. Back on topic. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try these pickles on the stream last Friday when I was with Shane. It can't be that bad, right? They're pickles. They're not peppers. And during the stream, I ate a pickle, and I realized the folly of saying something, of promising something that you have yet to fully suss out. Because today I'm going to be eating this jar of pickles in honor of my boy Jeremy for my birthday. Oh, jeez, it's in my eye. Jesus Christ. What? Hopefully I'll be able to keep a straight face while doing the show because I'm going to be... Jeez, it got in my eye, bro. Are you kidding me right now? What a bummer. Jesus. I'm gonna be doing the show, all the news topics. We have a lot of trailers today. It's crazy. I'm gonna be doing all that while eating these delicious pickles because this is the pickle party, right? Oh. Oh, it's so hot. What a mistake this was. Oh, jeez. All right, let's do this. All right. Oh, shit. It's really spicy. Okay. This is such a bad idea. All right, so first, this is so stupid. First, I want to say hello to all the people in the chat. We got Atheist for the Cause, Jeremy Snyder. Of course, my brother Shane is watching. What's up, bro? And I know Kenneth the Roke is on the members section. Kenneth the Roke says, oh, God. He asked if we were going to cover the Alec Baldwin shooting. And I said yes. He said, good luck on that topic. It is, we just have to remember not to listen to anything until the coroner's results. Yeah, it's going to be a touchy topic. Also, he gave me $5. Thanks, man. He said, I have to do this at least once. You're a mensch, my friend. Thank you. Over on the Unleashed channel, we got... Watch it. Atheist with a Cause says, Carolina Reaper is what we use for blazing wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't think I've ever had Buffalo Wild Wings. And Jeremy Snyder said, just one chip. It's in the eye now. Don't take it. Just don't take a leak. I just want one chip. White milk. He's getting an endorphin rush. My mouth is on fire right now. But I promised. So going in for another before we actually get to the time. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. All right. It's on my hands too. I can feel it burning. Jesus. Okay. First topic of the day. And we're going to start off with a banger here. We're going to start off with the Alec Baldwin, in the back of my throat. God, Lord. Yeah, I'm doing the whole jar today. All right, we're going to start with Alec Baldwin shooting because I'll tell you why. I don't really want to talk about it, but I feel like if I don't, then I'm not doing this right. So we got to talk about it. And so, we're going to be respectful. We're going to cover it at the top of the show. Get it over with, then we can get to the funner stuff. All right. Let's do that. Okay, this is what happened. Alec Baldwin fired a shot on a movie set that killed one woman and injured another. Killed the cinematographer and wounded the director. Now, he didn't actually fire like a live gun. It was a prop gun. So that's what they say. In Santa Fe, actor Alec Baldwin fired a prop gun. Oh my God, the peppers. Actor Alec Baldwin fired a prop gun on the set. Jesus, come on. Stop burning my mouth. Fired a prop gun on the set of a Western that killed the cinematographer, officials said. The director of the movie was also wounded, and authorities are investigating what happened. Halya Hutchins, cinematographer on Rust, a new movie called Rust, and director Joel Souzo were shot Thursday in the desert on the southern outskirts of Santa Fe. A spokesperson for Baldwin said there was an accident involving the misfire of a prop gun with blanks. Santa Fe County Sheriff's spokesman Juan Rios said detectives were investigating what type of projectile was discharged and how. No immediate charges were filed. It is not clear if Baldwin was performing at the time of the shooting or how many rounds were fired, and little was known about the weapon. On Friday, Baldwin tweeted expressing his condolences to the Hutchins family and calling the shooting an accident. This is what Alex said. There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Halya Hutchins, a wife, a mother, a deeply admired colleague of ours. I'm fully cooperating with the police investigation. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved Halya. Yeah. Man, that is a bummer, huh? So, all right, how does this happen? How does a prop gun that's supposed to be relatively safe, obviously not at close range. If you ever seen prop guns, I actually have one here. We have prop guns, we have BB guns, we have different kinds of weapons because we used to film a bunch of skits and sketches and stuff like that. So I have a lot of really cool sort of fun grown-up toys. These aren't toys, but they're cool for like when you're shooting a production. If you guys have been around for a while, Shane and I did this. Excuse me, my mouth is on fire right now. Shane and I did this sketch a few years ago where it's really hard to explain. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want to lessen this story. But we did a sketch basically where, I stole the cop's gun and fired it off, right, in a park. It obviously wasn't real because I'm still here. I'm not in prison. But that gun was actually crazy dangerous. Even though it was firing blanks, like, we shot it and the sparks that came out of that thing, went like 3 feet. It was like, I mean, it was definitely, it's definitely not a toy. It's definitely dangerous. Now, here's the deal. When I fired that gun off, I thought to myself, well, as long as someone is not, like super close to the muzzle, you're probably fine. And when I was researching it, I actually found a story about a guy in the 80s who was playing around with a prop gun on a movie set, and he did that thing where he goes, right? And because it was so close to his temple, he killed himself, because there's enough projectile in there to do damage at extremely close range. So I don't know what happened with this gun. I'm not sure how you can fire a single prop gun and it somehow kill someone and injure a director. I mean, I guess it's possible that someone loaded it wrong, right? Like loaded it with the wrong ammo or something. I don't know how it's possible. Was it fired multiple times? This article doesn't say. But I find it incredibly odd that you can fire a single prop gun weapon, right? Fire a weapon, and that weapon has no actual projectile, right? But there is this little piece of cotton that will come out, and the only time that's dangerous is if you're really close. How can he shoot that off and it hurt someone and kill someone else? Because you gotta be trying to hurt someone and kill someone else when firing a regular weapon one time. So, the details of this are weird. Maybe it backfired, maybe it exploded, but then again, how is Alec Baldwin okay if it backfired and exploded? I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Go to Kenneth first. He said, he was talking about, he's asking if I'm going to eat the whole jar. Yeah, I plan to. John Eric, okay. Who's over here on the live stream? I have an article that says the union branch representing Prop Master sent an email to members stating that a live single round was accidentally fired. Jesus. Okay. Thank you, atheist. Here's the deal. How does that happen? Why are there live single rounds even circulating the prop room? I don't get it. You guys remember that story about the guy that played the Crow? What was his name? Brandon. Oh my God. I gotta look it up now. Brandon something. Oh my God, he's famous. Like, I'm forgetting that. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee died when they were shooting that movie The Crow in the 90s. And he died because someone loaded the prop gun or something with real rounds. And how is that possible? First off, why are prop guns being loaded with real rounds? Why do prop guns even take real rounds? Like, at what point do some of these questions asked? A prop gun should not be able to fire live rounds. It just shouldn't. It should be a prop gun meant for prop rounds that have no projectile. Why does the prop gun even have a full-length barrel? I mean, there's so many questions I have going back 50 years of prop guns. But honestly, it makes no sense that there is a single live round at all. It's a prop gun. It's a movie set. You're not protecting yourself. It just makes no sense. Atheist said it should be illegal to have live ammunition and a prop gun in the same premises. Yes, you're right. Why are they in the same place? One is deadly. One is fake. They should not. First off, they shouldn't be in the same place, but they also shouldn't work together, for the love of God. Why do they even work together? It's not like this is the first time. There's actually, I looked it up, there's a ton of injuries and deaths on movie sets from prop guns being loaded incorrectly with the wrong ammunition. What? Sounds like I'm not saying that this is what happened, right? I'm not saying that in this instance that, Alec Baldwin was mad and wanted to murder somebody. What I'm saying is it's frighteningly suspicious when some of these productions, when someone dies in some of these productions, and no one has to take no one takes responsibility for it. Not the prop guy who loaded the gun, not the guy who fired it, not the guy who brought it to the set. And the insurance covers all their troubles, their legal troubles, and the family troubles, and whatever it is, and everybody just sort of gets away with murder. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm saying in previous instances of this happening on sets, it was sus. Like with The Crow. The Crow was the way Brandon Lee died on The Crow was so sus. I have no idea how no one was arrested. No one. You know why? This is why they got away with that. Because in 1999 or 1998 or whatever, there wasn't a giant, internet, Facebook, Twitter. It wasn't a social presence sharing information and talking about this. And I think that's you can get away with a lot more back then. But Brandon Lee died under very suspicious circumstances, and no one talks about it. No one. It makes no sense. I remember I was actually because I was like a super edgy edgelord teenager. I was really into Brandon Lee and The Crow, and I was super stoked for that movie to come out. And was it The Crow 2 or something? I forgot. But I remember reading about the reading about how he died and thinking, this doesn't make sense. They were calling it, a fatal accident. And all the words and all the articles were like very, very suspiciously straw manning, like, oh, accident, mistake, malfunction, like, I don't understand why it was even loaded with, again, why was it loaded with live rounds? 3 questions. Why was it loaded with live rounds? Why were there live rounds on the set? Why does the prop guns even work with live rounds? All very valid questions that no one's answering. And someone died. Brandon Lee died in the 90s, and now this lady's today. And there are other people. There are other people that have gotten injured or died on movie sets, and no one's talking about it. We're not going to talk about this today, but excuse me. Let me eat another pickle because I promised. But what's her name? Ruby Rose. She quit Batman. The Batwoman or Batgirl, whatever it's called. What is that show called? Batgirl? Yeah, Batwoman. Sorry, I'm not trying to be sexist. Batwoman. So it's hard to keep up with what show the CW is making. But Ruby Rose was actually accusing the CW and the W and that whole crew of extremely unsafe work conditions, and she said that someone was like permanently a paraplegic now, and no one's talking about it because of unsafe work conditions on the set. And like, she got hurt, and someone got like their face melted off, and someone got shot, and she says she quit Batwoman because of how flippant the studio was with like safety. Listen, I don't know if that's the case, and I'm not like a big fan of Ruby Rose. Like, to be honest, I don't really like Ruby Rose. I don't like anything she's ever been in. The first time I ever saw her was in Dark Matter, and I didn't like her then. But if even half of what this chick is saying is true, then there is no accountability on these sets, because they're literally getting away with permanently maiming people, putting them in wheelchairs, killing people, and they pay the insurance fees and they move on. No one actually gets in trouble for it. No one actually, goes to jail. No one has to fess up on their mistakes. Again, not saying that's what happened with Alec Baldwin. I'm saying that we're seeing a pattern here, right? excuse me, seeing a pattern here, right? And the pattern seems like some pretty basic steps can be taken to make sure that someone doesn't get shot with a goddamn fake gun. Right? A, oh my God, it's hot. A, don't load the fake gun. Hey, that's an idea. Don't load the fake gun. Right? All right. B, don't even allow the fake gun to be loaded with real ammunition. Oh, okay. Or C, and this is the minimum amount of effort. Ready? Don't have live ammunition on a set. There is literally no reason for there to be live rounds on a movie set. There isn't. When you watch like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad and all that, when you see like, bullets ricocheting off of walls and ceilings, that's not actually happening. Like there's tiny little explosive packs and all these, and they just time them so it looks like they're going off. No one's actually firing live rounds, you guys. So why, bare minimum here, why the F are there live rounds on set? Makes no sense. Why isn't that the question people are asking? Ken said, it's a squib load. Yes, that's what they say about Brandon Lee. I know. So Kenneth said, there was something in the barrel. The gun was loaded with improperly made dummy rounds. Squib load was killed by the bullet that lodged in the barrel, and it was pushed out by the cotton. I don't know. That just seems so sus to me. That seems sus to me. Yeah. Why does the gun even have a round in it? I just don't understand. I don't understand why there's a round in it. Why is there a bullet? Why can it even take the bullets in the first place? Just don't have them on set. Crystal here. If the blanks are made and boxed at the same location as the actual bullets, it's possible for a single live round. Right. Okay. Sure. Blanks can be made and boxed at the same place. Okay. So the second question. Why can the prop guns even accept real bullets? Because I have a prop gun that you can load with the blank rounds, and you can't put real bullets in my prop gun. You can't put real bullets in this. It's only those little nubbins that make a loud bang, right? So I don't know. A lot of problems here. Very little accountability. I feel like this person died, and no one is going to pay for this except for some faceless insurance company somewhere, and that's unfortunate. Because that means it's going to keep happening, right? I need a break to cough because that pickle is very hot. 1 second. I'm back. All right. Yeah, so we're going to go on to the next story because I can talk about this for a long time because anytime something confuses me, I would just sit there and ask the same question over and over again until everyone leaves. So I'm going to stop now. But if someone can let me know the answer to any of these questions, reasonably speaking, let me know. Moving on from Alec Baldwin. Okay, some a little more fun news here, my friends. This new movie coming out on Netflix. God, it looks so good. It's called Red Notice. And check this out. Red Notice is starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. So you just took 3 of my top 5 favorite actors and you put them in a movie about adventure, thieving, the CIA. It's like an Indiana Jones meets James Bond movie. It looks phenomenal. You guys gotta check this out. Look at this. I'm just gonna play a little bit of it, okay? I know this is gonna get flagged, but I don't care. All right, check us out, you guys. It's so good, so good, so good.
Nolan Booth, the second most wanted art thief in the world. Special Agent John Hartley, FBI.
Oh my God, his voice is so grabby.
Hi, guys. How'd you find me?
You stole William Strang's Lady with the Red Hat from the tape.
You can't prove that was me. I got that on Etsy.
I want you to help me catch the most wanted art.
If you guys don't know this, Etsy is a marketplace, and people can make whatever they want, right? And they can sell it. Well, it's crazy because there's actually like a ton of really cool artwork on Etsy, but there's also a ton of really bad artwork. And sometimes it's really hard to know the difference because art is so subjective that some people get, one thing out of something, other people get another thing. Sorry. And I've seen art on Etsy where I'm like, oh man, who would buy that? And it was like $300. And then I've seen art that was amazing for like $5. After this trailer, I'll show you a couple examples. It's hilarious. That's why this joke is funny, though. If you haven't checked out Etsy, check it out.
Thief in the world, the Bishop.
Hello, boys.
Oh,
it's so
hello,
nice
gal.
to finally meet you in person.
I might be in love with Gal Gadot.
Frame me.
A few clever keystrokes.
Real quick pause. If Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa had a baby, I think it would be so attractive that people's faces would melt when witnessing the wonder of its beauty. Okay.
And poof. Bye-bye, Agent John Hartley.
She's gonna steal Cleopatra's eggs. They're priceless. If we catch her together.
All right, so we got the MacGuffin, right? So far the premise of the movie, it's so good. Ryan Reynolds is a thief. Apparently a very good thief, but not the best thief. The second best thief. Steals stuff. It looks like The Rock is playing a CIA agent or FBI agent or some kind of agent, and he's tasked with locating Ryan Reynolds. He decides that instead of arresting Ryan Reynolds, and I'm guessing here based on the trailer, that he's gonna say, okay, Ryan Reynolds, I need you to help me find the number one thief, Gal Gadot. And if you do, I'll let you off the hook. And I think what happens is they go after these eggs and adventure ensues, and they're probably gonna all end up friends by the end of the movie, I'm sure. But what an awesome premise for a movie. It's like Shane, every time I share this trailer with Shane's like, okay, yeah, it looks good. But you don't understand how I am more excited to see this movie than The Eternals, okay? This movie is like top of my list for like the last 3 months.
Together, I can clear my name, and I'll help you become the number one thief in the world again.
Lift with your neck. Even if I did partner up with you, you still only have one brain.
What's your plan, son of a...
How freaking cool was that, right? I mean, here's the deal. There's really, really cool scenes in movies. And then there's like physically impossible scenes, right? So Fast and Furious started off as like this sort of like, street racing thing. And it devolved into this, or evolved, however you want to look at it, into this basically supernatural sci-fi franchise where like they do the impossible, like they break the laws of physics. But it slowly got there. And if you watch Fast and Furious 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't start to get ridiculous until 4. And people say 4 is probably one of the best movies. And they're right, because that is when it was transitioning. That's when it was on the edge of ridiculous. It wasn't full-blown ridiculous. It was just, it was breaking the laws of physics a little bit, enough to leave you, in wonder like a child. Oh, that was cool. But not enough to make you laugh in theaters because that's ridiculous and impossible. But by the time it gets to 9, they're in space in a Pinto with duct tape on their hands, and it's ridiculous. But the movies, the best action movies are the ones that go right up to the edge of impossible, but don't quite go over the edge. They go right up to the edge, and they go, hey, and they hang out on the edge, and they show you the beautiful edge of impossible, but they never go into the ridiculous. Now, Fast and Furious did that. That is why, I have this theory that the reason why Fast and Furious 4 is considered one of the best Fast and Furious movies, and 5, is because that's when they were transitioning from, street race movie to borderline ridiculous sci-fi movie, and then after that it was just ridiculous sci-fi the whole time. But the reason I'm saying that is because this scene is so cool, and it makes you ask yourself, oh my god, is that possible? And like, could they just like open the doors and like the missile go through and he doesn't get burned? And I mean, and you don't know if it's possible. So that's why you go, oh, that was a cool scene. Now, when you watch Fast and Furious and they're in space in duct tape suits or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, that's impossible. A child knows that's impossible. But this is like, I don't know, it's possible and it's cool. And that's why it's borderline ridiculous. It's awesome.
See? Easy peasy.
My, oh my,
I love the soundtrack.
You have to be the two dumbest men on the planet.
You look.
Gal Gadot is just stunningly attractive. It's crazy how beautiful this woman is.
Awful.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Perfect.
How's it going with your partner in crime?
5-second rule.
Oh, man.
This is a marriage of convenience.
I want to divorce them, keeping the kids.
I want to divorce him, keeping the kids.
Are you kidding me?
What? This is hard!
God, I gotta tell you guys, there is an art to trailer making. I'm not joking. I adore trailers. Maybe it's because I'm an editor. Maybe because I like when I see a trailer and I see like the perfect mesh between sound effects and music and scenes, and it pulls your emotion. There needs to be an award, like an awards out there, like some kind of award, like not the Oscars, the Emmys, but some kind of like Weebies or Streamies for trailer editing. Case in point, the first Suicide Squad movie, not the last one with James Gunn, but the one before that. The trailers that they made for that movie were stunningly good. They were amazing. They were so perfectly well done. The movie was not. But the trailers were amazing. Like, oh my god, I can get anybody on board with that trailer. They should have won awards. The movie was not good. So there needs to be like a trailer awards or something, because some trailers are just better than the movies, man. And maybe I'm weird, because I can sit there and watch trailers all day long, dude. I love a good trailer. I really do. I think one of the biggest problems with that movie was that they hired the same people that made the trailers to edit the movie. And trailers don't work in hour-and-a-half long forms. They work as 3-4 minute things, you know? Check it out.
Trying to beat me.
That's the idea. Are you not entertained?
There's one last thing you should know. Trusting a thief can be dangerous.
Oh, what the
Question: are you as turned on as I am right now? Because, oh my god, that trailer looks awesome. It looks so good. Is no one else talking about this movie? It comes out in like a week and a half. Oh, I can't wait. You know what's crazy is it comes out on Netflix. I will watch this in theaters. I will go out of my way to watch this in theaters. It just looks so good. Man, speaking of, oh my God, you guys, I saw Dune. Unfortunate. I'm not going to get too into it, but Dune is just so boring. It's so boring. It's so unbelievably boring. I cannot tell you. And I don't want to talk about it without Shane here, because I know Shane wanted to talk about it, but I have to say things about it, okay? I feel like a couple of my hours of my life was robbed, and I feel like we were a little bit lied to. I think there's a little bit of a chivalry thing going on with certain people. I'm not saying everybody. Here's the deal. If you watch Dune and you liked the previous Dune from the 80s, the older Dune, if you liked that movie, you're going to love this movie. Okay? Because this movie is visually stunning. Visually stunning. I'm not joking. This movie right here, visually stunning. I mean, the amount, I had to go back and watch this scene here. The amount of graphics and cinematography that went in this movie is just outstanding. Beautifully made movie. But, oh my God, it's so slow. The reason I actually saved it on this timestamp is, look at this. Ready? I'll show you when. Right up. All right. There isn't any action in the movie for an hour. It is almost pure exposition for an hour. They're setting up the universe or whatever, but it's, even as someone who watched the 1980s one and understand the characters, I was still getting lost. It's just, what a snooze fest. And someone tell me why everyone likes this kid. Because he is not entertaining, bro. He's not. Okay. What's his name? It's something Charlemagne, or, I'm sure he has all the teenagers swooning. It's oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet. Why does everyone like this guy? Is it because he's just like uber attractive or what? Because he's not a good actor. Again, he looks tired the whole time. You guys, this guy looks like he's blitz out of his mind the whole movie. It wasn't just the trailers. I'm watching this movie and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, why am I watching this emo kid drawl on really slow about this and that? Oh, Jesus. Am I getting old? Do like young people bother me now? Am I becoming an old fogey? Because this guy, that was his expression the whole movie. The whole movie, that was his expression. Almost zero emotion. And Zendaya, by the way, this chick, Zendaya is barely in the movie, by the way. I think she's probably going to be in the next movie. If there's a next movie, I don't know. And maybe there will be. Maybe there'll be another movie. I'll tell you why. Because every review I've seen from... Sorry, the pickles are like really hitting me in the back of my throat. Every review I've seen from people that I respect, friends of mine even, are saying that the movie is great. Oh, it's amazing. It's orgasmic. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Is there another cut I'm not aware of? Like, yeah, okay, visually stunning. Like, are these professional movie reviewers getting lost in the spectacle, the visuals, and not realizing that a full hour has passed and nothing of importance has happened? I don't know. You guys have anything to say about it? Too much spice. Too much spice. Yeah. Mrs. Ticketron says too much spice. Maybe, I don't know, man. This guy, I'm telling you, I'm gonna show you the face this guy makes. The whole movie. whether he's getting tortured by someone, or he's killing someone, or he's hanging off outside of a plane for dear life. Ready? It doesn't matter what he's doing. That's the face he's making. The entire time. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he's just like eye candy. Maybe he's like there to make all the teenage girls be like, oh, I love Timothy Chalamet. I don't know. Listen, my sexuality is different, so it doesn't do it for me. You know? That said, Zendaya's sort of a blank expression, because she has the same expression too. But she's not in the movie very much, so I'm not going to criticize her because she's barely in the movie. But Zendaya, yeah, I mean, they both these people just look like that the whole movie. Like they're smoking too much spice. I don't know, man. I know it's gonna be unpopular. It's gonna be an unpopular opinion. I can already tell because friends of mine and people I know on YouTube and people I respect in the movie reviewing, in the movie industry are like, movie's amazing, visual masterpiece, all the buzzwords, and I'm sitting there like, maybe I just have bad taste. I don't know. Yeah, it says, Mr. Turk Trunk says, seems to be most people like Dune. Those who don't think it's the worst thing this year and seem to start yelling. Yeah, I mean, that's me. You know why? It's for me, it's the worst because it was disappointing. Like, I don't care about it. I don't know. Yeah, I see you, Tom. I got you, man. Give me 1 second. I'm going to wrap this story up, then I'll bring you in. Yeah, so I don't know what Shane's gonna say. Shane did have a really cryptic tweet when he saw it. He tweeted out Dune with like a bunch of like sleeping emojis. So I don't know. Maybe he thinks it was slow too. I haven't spoken to him about it yet. Although again, friends of mine are like, "Oh, it's amazing. It's so good. You're going to love this film." And I'm like, what movie did you watch? Someone called it Game of Thrones in space. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not Game of Thrones in space. Like, Game of Thrones was like, it kept you on the edge of the seat. The story was like impactful. It was exciting. This was not exciting. It was not. And you know, the main character's face just bothered me the whole movie. I don't know. Listen, art is subjective. Go watch it for yourself. You know? Let me know next week. If you think I'm nuts, Brian, you're insane. You're a crazy person. You didn't like this masterpiece. What's wrong with you? Sure. We'll have that conversation. But from my perspective, and we're going to wait next week for Shane's perspective, from my perspective, movie was garbage. All right, guys, I'm bringing Tom in. Tommy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got to turn off the video in the background. Hang on here.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you from like a minute ago or whatever. How you doing?
Not bad, bro.
All right, now we got it. Okay. Now I can hear you. Just you. One you.
Yeah, it's just me. Just me.
No, I had two U's going.
Oh.
Yeah, I could hear you now and hear like I was trying to pause the other thing. Yeah, there we go. All right, how you doing, man?
Not bad, man. Let me throw out this, I made this cool screen just for you. There it is. Everyone, welcome Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge. The man, the myth, the legend, the producer extraordinaire, Mr. Tom. How you doing, bro? I saw you guys had a stream today. When I saw you guys doing the stream, I'm like, I'm not going to start a stream and like, have Tom trying to leave early, so I'm just gonna push the stream up.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Like, yeah,
no worries, dude.
Then all this stuff had to like normally like Fridays we try to get through the show pretty early because we usually only have Cameron for 2 hours, but then yeah, the news kind of took over. So
yeah, no problem, brother. So we just talked about Dune. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that loved it, but I would never go tell anybody else that they will love it.
Right.
Right. Like, I know Dune is one of those things that has a rabid fan base, and there's just some people though that are just not going to be into it, right? Like, and this movie was shot like a 70s style film almost in a way, so I can see where a lot of people are going to think it's dragging on and stuff like that, and that's totally a fair, criticism.
Did you watch
of
the
film.
first movie? I mean, not the first movie, but the
Lynch one? Yeah, I've seen it quite a few times. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing a trend here. The people that like love that movie are gonna love this movie because they are. This is like a sort of a spiritual successor to that film. It has the very similar sort of notes and pacing, and I think the world's already been set up for those people, so they don't have to like really pay attention too much. They can just sort of revel in the spectacle that is the visual masterpiece of this, because it is a visual masterpiece. But story-wise, it didn't get me.
No, and that's fair. And you're only getting part of the story too. That's another problem is,
Right.
And the thing with the Lynch version is they crammed a lot into one part of the story, and then the ending isn't really the real ending. And I get it. Like there is a lot to take in with this first part of the story and understand as far as the ins and outs of the universe. And I kept trying to ask myself while I'm watching it is, if I didn't know this much about the world, would I be lost? And I think he did a pretty good job of expressing what the whole world was. But again, I'm not surprised. Like when somebody like you says, I wouldn't like it. I was kind of boring. It was this, that, and the other. It's not everybody's cup of tea, right? Like it's not.
It's not one of those fun summer blockbusters you just have a great time on and then leave the theater. Yeah, it requires.
No, and the thing with the Game of Thrones, like comparisons, a lot of that stuff doesn't happen in this part of the story. Like there's a lot of behind the scenes backstabbing and shit going on, but we won't see a lot of that unfold until the story starts going on. So like that's where those kind of comparisons come from, I think. But no, there's not like the overt sex and all that kind of shit. But like no,
right.
like
so Jeremy Johns, you know who that is?
Oh yeah.
So Jeremy Johns reviewed it on the 18th, and I had not seen it yet. I was literally gonna watch it like the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, man, this is the visual, stunning masterpiece, orgasmic. It's like Game of Thrones in space, but they're like on planets." And I'm like, all right, yeah, all right. I was getting all excited, right? Thinking, okay, robot dragons and boobies. Sign me up. Sounds good. But yeah, none of that took place. In fact, for me, also another thing that might have pulled me, maybe the second part will be better. Maybe it'll pull me farther to liking it. Because a big portion of my dislike for this movie was Timothy Chalamet's lack of any expression whatsoever the entire movie. It drove me nuts.
I mean, that's a subjective thing, right? Like I didn't really care for the actor going into it, but I'd never really seen him in anything. And then I saw him in this and I was fine with him.
Okay.
In fact, there's things that I'm not saying he's a better actor than Kyle MacLachlan, but there's things that he got to do in this that Kyle didn't get to do in the Lynch Dune.
Right.
That I thought was kind of interesting, and it was nice to finally get to see. And they even kind of little wit in some places, at least from my recollection or knowledge or whatever, a little bit beyond the book. And they kind of even had like the moment where, not to get into too many spoilers, but where Paul gets to confront his mother on a few things, right? Like these are things that are alluded to and things like that, and things that we get to understand a little bit further down the line. But I think they needed to be here to kind of set up his character. But no, I get it. Like there's certain actors I just can't fucking stand either. Sorry, I didn't know if I should swear or not, but like
it's fine.
No, there's certain actors I just can't stand either. So like I get it. Right? Like I get it. It's just one of those things, no matter how good of a role they're putting out there. There's been very few actors who have ever been able to win me over at some point down the road. And I can probably count less of them on one hand because Leonardo DiCaprio is like one of the only ones I can think of.
For me too. Leonardo DiCaprio won me over and Robert Pattinson won me over. Both those people I started off disliking entirely. Like I was like, I hate these actors. And then over time, I started to really enjoy their work. I think Robert Pattinson, it started with Twilight. I watched Twilight and I was like, oh my God, I hate this person so much. And then I saw him later on in other stuff, and he made fun of himself and some SNL sketches and stuff. And, he has a sense of humor. And I ended up really loving the actor, and I can't wait for Batman because of that,
I unfortunately have never really seen him in anything outside of the like 40 minutes of Dune I want, or not Dune, Jesus, Tenet I watched. But like that's the thing is like when it comes to I didn't watch The Lighthouse and all that stuff, and I'm sure he's a decent actor.
He's a great actor, man, but The Lighthouse is so hard to watch for people like me. I have ADD, bro. I can't sit there and just listen to someone talk for an hour. I can't do it.
Well, and if you have ADD, I can see that's why another reason why Dune just may not be for you.
What was it for 57 minutes in, and it was just speaking. I'm like, whoa.
See, because I get where you're, the individual you're talking about before, where I get the nerdgasm part of it. Because if you're somebody who knows this world and you're somebody who's been into it, like, yeah. But I've also said in our multiple reviews that I've done now that I cannot see certain younger people being into this, or people that are just not into that slow pace of a film, right? Like, I must reiterate again and again, this movie is shot and presented to us much like, a classic 1970s or 80s epic film, right? Like it's shot that way. It's a very slow moving story. And this is actually it's cut down to the bones. Like, so for me, when I saw it, I was expecting it to be even more drawn out. So like when I got to that 2 hour and 20 mark and the movie's over, I'm like, oh wow, that went quick. So for me, I had the opposite experience. But again, like I was expecting it to be more spectacle and in your face and a bit more like Star Wars, just because I'm sure that I figured the studio would be like, oh, you got to keep the kids invested into it. But I'm just, for me personally, I'm glad that kind of pressure didn't push them, because there's going to be a lot of action down the road. Don't get me wrong.
I'm glad.
But we got to see a couple of action sequences in this one, but this is just kind of like things to come. Like this is just the beginning.
This is the setup.
Setup. Yeah, this is definitely all the setup, and that's in a lot of ways it's similar to Fellowship of the Ring in that way, right? Like a lot of the major wars didn't kick in until the second and third film,
right?
Not a whole lot happened in that first Fellowship of the Ring as far as like major events. So like, yeah.
Ken said, welcome, Tom, and do you prefer Lynch's Dune to this one?
No, I actually thought this was, so far anyway, pending the sequels, so far this is a much more true adaptation to the book. It does take some influences from Lynch's Dune, and I liked that as far as like just the visceral things, like certain visuals and things of that nature. But no, in the end of the day, so far still this is the better of the films. But I do enjoy Lynch's production design much more. Yeah. But that is so much to the 80s aesthetic that I don't think it would fit here.
Yeah, I get you. Tickletrunk said, I have ADD and didn't like Dune. Maybe connected. Ryan's like a big kid. I mean, yeah. I'm a 40. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm a 41-year-old teenager. I'm a sweaty nerd who has learned how to act like an adult so I can buy toys. Right? I think that's a lot of people in like the nerd demographic. I have learned how to act
relate
like
to
adult.
that.
Yeah. So I can buy cool stuff. So I can buy, so I can build a $6,000 computer, and that doesn't, I'm not rich. That didn't come cheaply. I had to work really hard for that. So I have learned, I'm a giant man boy and I've learned how to be an adult for long enough during the day to get paid so I can have fun the rest of the day. Thanks, man. Mr. Ithia said, hey, well, Brian, did you like The Hobbit and Walking? No, and I didn't like The Hobbit either. I'm sorry. I know I'm probably losing nerd credibility here, but I didn't like The Hobbit, partially because it was a prequel and I just despise prequels. And
no, nobody likes The Hobbit.
Okay, thank God.
For
a minute there, I thought maybe I was on an island here, because The Hobbit, I so disliked that movie.
No, everybody kind of, and even those who actually kind of like it, they'll still agree with most people say that, yeah, they should have just made one 3-hour movie or 4-hour movie instead of 3-hour movies out of it. Because it's a really short book in comparison to the rest of the novels. It's just like, it was overkill.
Yeah, no, it was. I also don't like prequels because I I know when the characters are gonna end up. So like, it's almost like the stakes are lower, because it's funny, whenever you watch a prequel and there's like 2 new characters, you're like, oh, one of them's gonna die for sure, because you don't see them later on.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
I'm eating these super spicy pickles.
No, I'm not a big fan usually of prequels either, unless they really have something to add. And that's generally not the case. I'm hard pressed to think of any prequels that I'm a real big fan of. Even the Star Wars prequels, it's pretty well known that I don't think the highest of them even. I mean, they're okay, but
it's
they're
weird
still...
how people now are talking about the Star Wars prequels like with love, when everyone I know for the longest amount of time just despised those movies. And then these movies came out, the more recent movies came out.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, oh, the prequels were great. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about?
Well, there is a portion of let's say our age group that didn't like the prequels at the time, but now have come to respect them because there's so much more Star Wars than what we've gotten in the last, however many years.
Yeah, if you compare them to The Last Jedi, oh my God, they're
so and I can understand that. I mean, I probably have gained a little bit more respect for them myself, even over the past few years. But there's also, we got to remember, being our age, like there is a whole generation of kids that was their Star Wars they grew up with.
Right.
And I have had to come to terms with that. Like, and no matter what you say is going to change their minds, it's just, and I got it, because like we just kind of grew up and Star Wars was there, right? Like to them, Star Wars was not only there, but there was these prequels at the same time. So especially if they're even younger than when they came out, like they were always part of the saga, right? Like, so
yeah. You know what blew my mind?
Difficult to detach that. Yeah.
It blew my mind when I sold a first edition, still in the box, Princess Amidala. Is that her name? Amidala, right? Princess
Queen
Amidala.
But yeah.
Well, this one was the princess figurine, right? It was she was queen, but so Princess Amidala like action figurine. I sold it on OfferUp for like $300. I know. So I got this thing when the prequels came out. My at the time, my stepmom was like, oh, and Brian loves Star Wars. He's going to love the prequels. And so everything for like 3 years after that, every birthday, every Christmas, she would get me Star Wars crap. And it was all related to the new Star Wars. And I didn't want to break her heart and tell her that I hated the new Star Wars. So I just kept collecting this stuff and putting it away. And a few years ago, I started doing OfferUp for fun to get rid of stuff in my garage. And I found this like box full of prequel merch. And I had this Amidala princess or queen or whatever, Amidala doll, perfect, still in the box, still wrapped, like everything, right? So I put it on OfferUp, and I basically put like $50 or best offer. And dude, you should have seen my message box was blowing up. People were offering me $7,500. They were like outbidding each other. And I ended up settling on $315 price tag with some dude in the middle of Ohio. And I shipped this doll that to me was just garbage in my garage. It was hilarious.
I probably still have some original Jar Jar stuff left over. Like, because I had a bunch of stuff that I was selling for episode 1 when I had my video store, and pretty much all of it sold except for the Jar Jar Binks shit.
I low key want this Jar Jar Binks merchandise just to put behind me during the set, because that'd be like such a unique thing, No one likes Jar Jar.
I got a few things of them still. No, I mean, and a lot of people got to remember too, like the prequel thing was like, unless you were there experiencing it, you got to kind of understand how it went. Cause I know a lot of kids nowadays are just like, oh, you boomers, you just hated it, right? No, a lot of us, to me, it didn't set until Attack of the Clones, right? Like, and that's where I feel like a lot of people felt it. They're just like, because they were still willing to give that second film a shot. It was like, okay, like, sure, there was some weird, like we were just saying with Dune, like the first movie's just setting stuff up, right? Mm. We're going to get to the good stuff. And then here's the thing is I saw the Attack of the Clones in the perfect fucking set. Sorry, I keep swearing. The perfect set, the perfect setting. And I'm like, and I still ended up like walking out of the movie going, I wanted to like it, but I got to admit it was trash. Like it was just trash. Like, I mean, because I saw it in an auditorium, not a theater, an auditorium in the Orpheum in Madison with like 2,000 other Star Wars fans, packed full. Like I was way up in the balcony. Me and my buddy had our double-bladed lightsabers. We were fighting with other people that had their lightsabers. Awesome. It was just a blast, man. It was, it was a heck of a day. The whole experience was fun. I would never trade the experience for anything. But the sad part was that the movie could have been better, right? Like,
Right.
and we had moments where the cheer, the crowd did cheer and have their stuff. But like, here's a perfect example of what the prequels were. You had the moment where Yoda comes in, he opens his cloak, pulls out the lightsaber. Everybody goes, rah! Like you couldn't hear anything,
Right.
except for just white noise for like 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden he starts flipping around and the hurrah goes to and collectively 2,000 people, right? Like you say, hey, you had one moment of just like, and then just a collective sigh of groans, just going, oh.
Yeah, the flipping around, the whole like the way they made this, like this guy who's like it was limping 5 seconds ago, and now he's like a kung fu master. It was such a weird choice. Like,
and to me, that encapsulated the whole thing, the prequel experience. It was a whole lot of highs, but a whole lot of lows at the same time. So like as its fan, you're just like, I can't do this roller coaster shit, George. Like,
right. And my question is like, why though? Like, why did they make that decision? Was it like, did they want to shock fans, or was it like, were they trying to make them laugh, or?
George, bless his heart, I think he really just was trying to do what he thought the fans wanted. Because, I've done a lot of studying on George Lucas, and I've been a fan of his for many before the prequels came out, right? Like, I was a Star Wars fan when it felt like nobody else in the world still was, right? Like, and I know a lot of people even in this chat probably can relate. Like, there was a time when there wasn't any new Star Wars anything, right? It was just the dead period, right? Like, and it's like, does anybody else remember Star Wars but me? Like,
right.
That's what it felt like. But then, like, it just, this all happened. And it was like with George, it was just like, I think he had it in his heart. He wanted to give the fans what they wanted, but he just wasn't quite sure what that was, because I truly think that George never really wanted to be that guy, like to be the Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
It was a fluke.
To be the king nerd.
Exactly. He made Star Wars and American Graffiti basically out of they came out of an argument with his wife and Francis Ford Coppola. And it boiled down to, he had basically bankrupted Francis Ford Coppola's company, Zoetrope, with THX 1138, and lost them a 3-picture deal with Warner Brothers, which at that time included Apocalypse Now.
Oh my God.
So like, yeah, this was not some little deal. Like, this was a big thing. So like, he was just irate with George, and he's like, George, why can't you just make a normal movie, or like a comedy or a kids movie or something, a family film, anything? Just this movie's so cold, it has no emotion. And George was all pissy, and he's like, well, I can get emotion out of the audience. All I got to do is wring a cat's neck. It's like, all right, but I'll go prove you wrong. And he went and wrote American Graffiti, and it became this huge hit. And in the process of that, he was also working on Star Wars, which, as we all know, started as a project that he wanted to make, either Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers, basically, but couldn't get either. And he just went and did his own thing, kind of thing. And
right.
Like, yeah. So like, it just, the rest is history. But like, at that point, then he got sucked into this world, and he really did kind of become Darth Vader. It's like, and that's the sad part looking back on the prequels, is you can really see the guy working out a lot of stuff emotionally, because there's parallels there to Anakin and George. Because George always thought himself Luke, right? I mean, he named the guy Luke, George Lucas, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's right there in the name.
Right.
But then he sadly kind of realized, no, wait, I'm Anakin, because that's what he did. He created Lucasfilm, which was supposed to be this kingdom for his wife to be able to do her job and never have to leave home. And all it did was a big wedge between them, and they ended up divorced, right? Like, so he ended up losing his wife, although he tried to build this kingdom for her. And that's kind of like paralleled in Anakin's story, if you look at it a lot of ways. He tried everything he could to save his wife's life, and in the end, all he did was end up being her undoing, right? Like,
right.
It's very similar. So like, in a lot of ways, looking back on the prequels, I feel like he was working a lot of personal stuff out there too. And again, you can get into the whole, well, he didn't have anybody there like he did with the first movies and all this kind of stuff. But no, I don't think he genuinely went out there and was like, I'm going to piss the Star Wars fans off or anything like that. I don't think that was the case at all.
Right.
So in hindsight, I try to be a little nicer to George. So
yeah, I never had that thing where I was like, oh, even if I disliked those movies, I was never like really super critical of like George Lucas. It's a weird thing. Like, when you talk about Rian Johnson, I'm like, you know what? F that guy. When you talk about George Lucas, I'm like, oh, you know, everyone makes good and bad decisions sometimes. And I always thought to myself, well, am I just like biased because I got so much, you know, warmth and good story from George Lucas prior to the prequels? Or, you know, is it just because George Lucas always seems like he's actually trying to do something? He's always trying to make what Star Wars fans want, while meanwhile, Rian Johnson went and literally said, I'm not going to make what Star Wars fans want. I'm going to make what I want.
Yeah, he's the antithesis of what George probably was. You're right.
Right. So it's even if they're both not great Star Wars films, in my opinion, I could be like, I still love and respect George Lucas, and I despise Rian Johnson because Rian Johnson, he's the bad guy to me.
I agree.
No,
I agree completely. Because like, let's be real. Like, I love George Lucas, but he's an idea guy, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he's on the spectrum, right? And he's just never been diagnosed.
Sure.
Because he just looks at things way different than other people look at them, right? Like, you even hear the stories of Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford getting into it with him about acting and stuff. It's like, you know, like they said, you can type this dialogue, but you can't say it. You know, and Harrison would get into fights with him all the time. He's like, well, what's my motivation? What am I supposed to do here? And George is just like, just do it. And he's like, well, I can't just do it, George. You need to tell me what to do. He's like, well, it's on the paper. Just say it. You know, like he just didn't understand that kind of part of directing. And you'll have that, right? Like it's just, George is a very idea driven guy. He's driven by technology. He's driven by toys, and he's driven, and I don't mean just plastic ones. I mean by the technological toys like the computer and stuff like that. And I mean, the thing with, we kind of saw what he wanted to do with the original Star Wars films in the prequels, but he had all these other people around him for the first three movies going, George, you can't do this, or you can't do that. That doesn't make sense. You need to have this, you need to have that.
Right.
So you had people to kind of help him through it. You can kind of see in Return of the Jedi, we're starting to get to where the prequels were, right? Like, and that was the movie he had the most control on. And in that, and what you have then is this guy who has a lot of ideas and a lot of stuff he can do. But then when you boil it all down to one movie, it's way too much for one. You know, it's almost like this, you know, you said you had ADD, but like going back and still looking at the prequels, they're like ADD gone crazy in the first one, right?
Right. No, it's ADHD. That's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like ADHD at that point.
Let's just throw as much as we can in this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah!
And, you know, and if you watch that beautiful documentary about the making of the episode 1 called The Beginning, which is not available like any physical way now, but you can get it on YouTube and stuff. People have put it up, but it was only available in the original DVDs of episode 1. And George was smart to take it off, I guess, after that. But like, you see that besides the whole train wreck happening as it's happening, that first screening where they're all sitting there and everybody starts slumping down in their seats by the end. And even George has to admit that I went too far, but now it's too late. You know, like I can't change it now. Like, what do I do? Like, and, you know, and everybody's trying to, you know, sit there and go, well, you can't really do anything. You can't take anything out, but yet you have too much going on at one place, you know? And it's like,
yeah, that's
where George got to. And it was just, he needed somebody to help rein him in, and unfortunately, he didn't have that at that point. So
yeah,
I know we've said that a million times over, but
when Lucas was just like, when he can do no wrong, you know, and he can re-release the Star Wars in multiple versions, and people would just suck it up. Like I can only imagine him going, like, as someone with ADD, I can only imagine him going like, oh my God, I can endlessly improve my work, and people would just keep buying it, you know. That's why he kept making special edition after special edition. I actually have a bunch of them there. I have the original VHSs on my wall, and then right next to them I have the special edition VHSs. And I mean, they're drastically different. But he went back and changed them over and over and over again. There are multiple cuts of the same movie. I think in his mind, he's like, a lot of people have said, oh, this is a cash grab. Well, maybe to the studio it was. But to George, it's like, oh, I get to keep improving my work. Awesome. I get to keep adding stuff as technology updates. I can see as like a creative person how he would be okay with making multiple versions of the same film as new ideas came up.
No, but it's true though. I mean, at the same time, I can't blame him. Mr. Tickle Trunk just brought that up in the chat too. He's like, George lost a lot of trust with the fans when he went back to improve the original trilogy. But I mean, it's not uncommon. They do that to everything. I mean, how many times have we gotten the Beatles albums remastered and re-released now? I mean, I'm on my third or fourth time buying them for F's sake.
It's true.
I mean,
I just bought the fifth special edition of It's Britney Bitch. So huge Britney Spears fan.
And you're proud of it. That's the funny
Proud
part. No,
of
I'm
it.
just kidding.
I'm a Britney bitch.
No, but I've always been one who's been adamant that we just want the original versions, and George just don't get it. And I don't know if this is a true story. People have told me it's not, but I think it was Godot or somebody like that who had a painting hanging in the Louvre, and he got arrested for trying to fix his own painting. And the whole thing is like, yeah, he was in there, got caught messing with the painting, and he's like, I'm trying to fix it. And they arrested him not knowing who he was. And then they found out who he was. But the whole point was, and then they just finally told him it's done. It's hanging in the Louvre. I think it's a whole joke I think it's a joke, but like somebody told me it's not a true story, but it ought to be kind of thing. Cause it is. That's what it feels like. Every artist probably feels that way. They
listen,
see their,
I believe that.
I get it.
I believe that totally, because every single time we make a video, I'm working on the thumbnail, and like my day job, I'm a designer. I will keep designing the thumbnail. I will make so many versions of the same thumbnail. Shane finally goes, yo, man, this one's fine. It's fine. Put it up. It's great. Put it up. He has to constantly reaffirm me and remind me that it's good, or I'll just continually work on the same thumbnail for a video. I'll just keep working on it until the video is 4 hours late, By the way, David Navarro, Shane is driving somewhere in the country, really far away, to pick up equipment for the show. We have a bunch of videos coming out.
He's like an anomaly to me. I don't know if I've ever actually talked to him. I've talked to you so many times.
Oh, Shane?
Yeah, like once I think I've talked to him,
yeah.
but maybe on the phone, but like
yeah. So yeah, if you're just joining us, Shane's not here because we have like 8 big videos. Like, I don't know if you guys, Tom, you know how our channel works, right?
Yeah, I've seen you guys together, so I know he exists. I'm just kidding.
No, but you know how our podcast Prime channel works, right? We create like these big, okay, so we make like these docs that take a long time, and they take like at least a couple weeks each one. So we've been making them so we can release them, the next 8 big videos, all consecutively, like every 2 weeks or every week, because we're going to be gone for Christmas working, because our day job is doing merch and stuff. So he's picking up.
And YouTube wouldn't dream of punishing you for not putting stuff up.
Yes.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, right. Because last year we took 45 days off and came back to our first video only getting 5,000 views, which was a tiny fraction of our subs. It's very odd. So yeah, we're not going to make that same mistake. We have learned from our friends at Midnight's Edge, Nerdronic, Jeremy. Different people have given us, look, man, you got to upload, you got to put stuff out through Christmas. So we're going to be doing that. But in order to do that, we have to like actively make stuff way ahead of time. So that means that our show has to be easier. So we got an opportunity to pick up a bunch of equipment of our show, so that Shane had stuff in the studio, and we had new computers and stuff. And it's good. It's very affordable, but the actual equipment itself would probably be around like 10 grand. But because Shane's picking it up, it's going to cost him like $1,200. Nice. So he's going way out there to like Ohio somewhere to go pick it up. He's not going to be back for a week. But hopefully he'll be bringing me back a lot of new toys. I got computers.
Well, I feel bad for
mics,
missing last
lights.
week, so
What's
I'm just
that?
glad I could be. I said I feel bad enough for not being here last week, so I'm just glad I could make it this week.
Thanks,
finally,
man.
even though I was late.
Hey, let's
no, that sounds really cool.
Let's talk about this Ghostbuster thing.
Oh, I like Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So I got to watch. Of course, I've seen the original Ghostbusters, right? But
right.
Last week, dude, I went to my kids and I'm like, hey, you guys excited to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife? Because they keep watching the. I have two twin girls, they're 10. They keep watching the Ghostbuster Afterlife trailer.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we can't wait to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna watch Ghostbusters right now. And they're like so excited, right? And I put on Ghostbusters, like the 1980s version with the original. And they were so annoyed with me for like the first like 10 minutes of the movie because it wasn't the movie that.
Now, had they seen it before this or?
No, they haven't.
Okay, I was curious. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were stoked to watch Afterlife because they keep seeing the trailers and TikToks and all that, right? But they didn't even know because they're 10. They didn't even know there was like an original movie. So I sat them down. We sat there with popcorn.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, cool.
Right.
All right.
And the first 10 minutes, they're annoyed that they're watching something that's not what they want. But dude, the second Bill Murray starts his being Bill Murray, I can't explain it. Like just his sort of tongue in cheek, sort of sarcasm and jokes, and like the action starts with Slimer and all that. Dude, they are on board. They were laughing, they were cheering, running around the room, like doing what kids do when they love something. And I was blown away because I have shown them so many movies that I love that they didn't care about whatsoever. But the original Ghostbusters had my kid laughing so hard there were tears coming down her cheeks, bro, and it was awesome. So I can't wait for Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Now you get to show them part 2 before the new one comes out.
Yes, I'm gonna do that.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Part 2 is a little, I mean, for 10-year-olds, it's a little more scary, you know. So
actually, I think it's the opposite.
really,
Yeah, they actually made part 2 more kid friendly.
really, because doesn't part 2 have more? Was it Mording? More, what's his name? The guy with the evil looking guy with this. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's Vigo, but like all the
Vigo. Thank you.
Yeah, but all the ghosts are like cartoony and it's all slime and there's no swearing in it and there's no smoking and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and the ghosts don't look as realistic in the second one.
Okay, well, and yeah, then they're gonna be watching that before we watch this. So we're gonna put this trailer on, and then I want to get your opinion on how this final trailer turned out. Okay.
Yeah, I seen it, but let's watch it again. I love it.
Cool.
Mom, what kind of scientist was Grandpa?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Dude, the sound. I'm pausing real quick. That sound, right? Like the sound is so familiar to me. It really has like the 80s vibe, you know? Like
Yeah, Jason seems to have done a good job to try and recapture that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Reitman.
I found this in
Soundtrack
my
too?
living room.
Yeah.
The overall like design of like everything has the vibe of the 80s one.
This
The original.
thing is real? Somehow, a town that has no fault lines is shaking on a daily basis.
What is that?
See that sound design is so good.
Maybe it's the apocalypse.
Oh my god.
This isn't a mine. It's a gateway.
Oh, dude, when my kids finally saw the original and Stay Puft Stay Puft, yeah, they were like, "Oh, that's why it's in the other movie." I'm like, "Yep." They were loving it, bro, because like they were like, "Yeah, but now because my kids have, you know, they're kids, so they can't verbalize like we can, sometimes better than I can, but." They were like, "Oh, well, then he's real big, and now he's real small. That's hilarious." I'm like, "It's hilarious, yes."
There!
What do we do?
I love this car.
Oh, I love this sound design. The updated soundtrack is so good.
What exactly is happening here?
We need to finish what our grandfather started.
That's not good.
Hey, so that is the same like Hell Dog from that first movie, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Gozer, that's the mind is actually Ivo Shandor's mind. And so this Gozer is the bad guy in this one again, I guess. But like this all leads back to the original film and why I'm assuming that Egon had settled in this place or whatever, because the the town is obviously built over a gateway to hell or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah, because if you're gonna build a town, you want to make sure that you build it on a hellmouth. That's
well, and that's the thing, is that Ivo Shandor was the guy who built the building in the first movie, so he
Right.
probably designed the whole town. You watch, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, because he was an architect, but he was also a Gozerian. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, bud.
You know what's great about that too is a lot of that looks like it's practical effects, man.
Yeah, the part where they had the head and the food there, that was clearly practical. But yeah, even the CG looks pretty good for this. But I know Jason has taken advantage of the extra time that he had to work on this, and he's done everything he could to try and make it the best possible. So I know he's tweaked it a little bit over the last year.
That's almost that. You know what that's saying to me? Almost saying that, like, if you give the artist the time they need, they might make something that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard very good reviews so far, and to the fact that where, like, I've had individuals go like, "You're gonna love this movie." It's like, okay, then don't tell me anything else. I don't want anything right? So
yeah,
like,
a friend of mine on YouTube who's actually a pretty big reviewer, but I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble. He was like, "You were gonna love this movie." He told me, I'm not gonna say his name. He told it is Ghostbusters. It's a true continuation. It's a successor of Ghostbusters, and you're gonna love it. So
and that's what I love about the reviews, because they're all so negative. It's like, yep, that means we're gonna love it, because they're all starting out with this unnecessary sequel that deletes the 2016 film for no reason. It's like, yeah, we know where your bias lies. It's like,
first off,
telling us everything we want to know.
That movie should have never existed in the first place. I love how when you're watching this trailer, YouTube, look up here, YouTube is immediately trying to get you to buy and rent the 2016 version, as if they're connected in some way. It's crazy. Where is any of the actual first two Ghostbusters? Why is the 2016 Ghostbusters the one you're trying to promote?
No, I agree. It should be the first one, if anything. That should be trying to promote.
Yeah.
No, well, that was the end of that. Sorry. No, it's a killer trailer, though. It actually gives us a little bit more of the story. I mean, I love the other trailers we've gotten so far, but this one was really neat.
Yeah, November 18th, man. Ooh, can't come fast enough.
I'm curious though. David Nunya says, "Guess I'm black-pilled. Not really looking forward to it, but see your enthusiasm. Why aren't you looking forward to it? I'm just curious."
Yeah, let us know, David. I mean, not everybody liked the first Ghostbusters too. That's another thing too, because I was talking to my buddy of mine who's a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
and he was never really into the Ghostbusters. He was like, "Yeah, it's okay." It just didn't touch him. It didn't do it for him the way it did for me.
I've met a few people here and there, but then I cut them out of my life because I don't need that kind of negativity. No, I'm kidding, of course. But no, I've met very few people who enjoy the first film. But one thing about the original film, I do remember, it's funny that you mentioned, your 10-year-old daughters are being into it, because, I think they neglected with that 2016 film that the original film did have a pretty big female fan base. Like, I remember just as many girls in my school being into Ghostbusters as there were boys. And, like, I just don't see this whole idea that, it was only a guy's thing, right? Like, it's just silly. Right. But no, I'm glad that we finally got this.
My wife, who she doesn't like anything sci-fi and anything nerdy whatsoever. She loves the original Ghostbusters. And I remember watching the 2016 version with her, and she laughed at a couple parts, but she was laughing at like the absurdity of some of the stuff they were doing and how like on the nose it was. And nothing about it was entertaining. It was entertaining in the sense where like you're watching something that shouldn't happen, in real time. You're like, oh, this is not good. What's entertaining about it is how ridiculous some of the moments were. Like when they were shooting the ghost in the crotch or whatever, you're like, oh God. Oh Jesus.
David Nunya answered us back. He says, "I like the old Ghostbusters, grew up with it, but maybe I've seen everything destroyed in the last few years." And that's totally fair, vantage point. And I was cautiously optimistic with this from the start, and I still kind of am, but I've heard enough now that I'm breathing a little better. Basically though, what I'm gathering, without giving too much away, because I even asked for not too much, And that is just basically the trailers are not showing us a lot of the stuff that the true fans are going to get giddy over yet. Like they teased us a little bit in the last one, but from what it sounds like, we're gonna really enjoy this film, hopefully. So fingers crossed on that. And that's understandable, David. I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna be wrapping up the Unleashed portion of the show here pretty soon. But I did want to tell you what we're gonna be talking about in the last portion of the stream that will only be on the Podcast Prime. We're gonna be talking about Anson Mount sort of backpedaling on his Strange New World statements, which is really upsetting.
I didn't hear
to
about
me.
this.
You haven't heard about this yet?
No, this is news to me. I've been wrapped up in all the other stuff.
Oh man, yeah, he backpedaled on the whole, like, you know, old school fans are gonna be very excited to see this.
Interesting, because I may know a little insight on this, but I haven't heard his new statements. So
that's the first story we're talking about. Then we're talking
Curious to
about
hear
the
those.
Peacemaker. James Gunn literally said that Warner Brothers is going to be Me Too'd for this show. Show looks great, by the way, Peacemaker. And then DC Comics getting blasted for the whole Superman American Way motto, how they're removing that, and that's going to be a fun topic. And Disney pushing back Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Panther, Indiana Jones 5, which that's super unfortunate.
That's a whole other can of worms. But I'll tell you what, though, about the DC front of things. Did you hear the other thing they just did?
No, what?
I guess they're adding a trans character to Themyscira.
Oh God. Okay, we'll get into that. Oh God, that sounds horrible.
That's a whole lot wrong with that. Like,
Yeah, everything's wrong with that. It's a island of wind. Oh, what?
I know. You just tell that to somebody. And it just takes the
God,
moment for everything
my
to kind of
brain
click, and you're
is
just
like it's. I'm having like a breakdown right now. Like it's a short circuit, dude.
Exactly. Like that's the same thing that happened to me. I'm like, what the?
How does that make any sense? Oh
None.
Jesus. And then we're also gonna be talking about Eternal. Oh God, I can't even like continue. Selma Hayek having some problems on the set with Chloe. Whatever. You know what? F that story. We'll finish that story instead. So, guys, we're gonna be leaving the Unleashed portion of this. Tom is gonna hopefully follow me into the at least the.
I got at least another hour or so, probably. Yeah.
At least the first portion of this of the Prime. So the way you watch the Prime. So what happens if you guys don't know how this works? We are streaming to 2 channels right now. We are streaming to both Popcast, our main channel, Popcast Prime, and Popcast Unleashed, our second channel. On the second channel, the first hour or 2 hours or whatever it's been is completely, open to everyone. But when we get into the story portion, we actually start talking about the articles and all that, that portion will be only for members. How you get there, my friends? You can get there by going to popcast.co/join or hit the link in the description or youtube.com/thepopcast/join. And we'll leave the audio up for this for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm going to stop it. And if you want to see the rest of the show, just head on over there, become a member, and every week, this is a show every week. And we do this exact same format every week. First hour and a half, Popcast Unleashed. The rest of the 2 hours, it will be in the member section only. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys over there. Okay? You got anything to say before we sign off on Unleashed, Tommy?
No, just thanks for everybody watching and hanging out with us today. It's always fun.
Oh, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Here, I'll give you a link, bud. 1 second. I'll put the link to where the other channel is, to where the other video is. That is where we'll be continuing the stream. All right, it's in the chat. Okay, guys. All right, I'm dropping the picture. I'm only gonna have text on the screen. Hopefully, we'll see you guys in the Prime section. Okay, now we're back on Prime. Okay, check it out. So the members section is interesting. We get to be a little freer because there's no copyright claims. There's no curse filters. We can do and say whatever we want within reason. Usually this is about the time that Shane takes his shirt off and starts doing a tassel dance, but we're not going to do that today.
Oh, thank God I can finally say cunt puppet. No, I'm just kidding. I've been dying to say that all day. No,
I knew it. But yeah, I do. I can't wait to get in this Anson Mount story. It's
yeah, I'm curious to hear about this. Yeah.
It's nuts. And I really want to talk about that Themyscira thing. So if we can maybe we could talk about the Themyscirian thing first.
Sure. I think I got the story handy here.
Because you
Hang
got
on.
the story there.
Yeah, DC introduces its first trans woman to Wonder Woman's Paradise Island.
Wow.
According to Bleeding Cool, this week DC launched its new series Nubia and the Amazons by Vita Alaya, Stephanie Williams, and Lisa Martinez. It features classic DC characters Nubia and the new Queen of Themyscira, Paradise Island, in the absence of Wonder Woman. It depicted the well of souls from which Themyscira welcomes new sisters as citizens of Paradise Island, souls of women who died from violence in man's world, reincarnated as Amazons. Some wondered if there were suggestions that they may include trans women among the reincarnated.
Okay, so
And yes, the answer is yes.
yeah, okay, so here, maybe for people out there that don't understand the problem with this, the problem with having a trans woman on the island of Amazonia or whatever is that the entire island is only biological females. That's the point of the Amazons. Whether it's myth or comics or you name it, the Amazons are a bunch of crazy warrior chicks. And I think it's actually slightly disrespectful to introduce a biological male into that mix and say, look how great this warrior is, because now you're taking away from the actual biological females that are on Amazonia or whatever the heck it's called. What is it called? Amazonia, right?
I think, yeah.
Oh, Themyscira. Right,
Themyscira, yeah. But no, like this is kind of what Dave Chappelle was getting at too. I don't know if you watched his most recent special.
It was great, man. Oh my god.
But like, yeah, like where, he's like, I'm a TERF, like, well, that's the thing is there are women who are now finally speaking out because they're like, look, I get it. We understand what you're doing, but that does not mean you have the right to kind of take away our accomplishments and what we're doing as women, right? Like, what have we seen happen here? And I'm not trying to get too political here or anything like that, but like, or even, against anybody's beliefs or morals. I'm just saying,
real quick, Tom, real quick. I'm just going to stop streaming on the